Hi there, I'm Sean Dillman. In this video series, I'll be sharing 7 tips and tricks on how to read faster. In fact, many of these techniques are tried and true methods that I've been working on for years and you won't see in any other videos. Keep watching. Tip number 6, use audiobooks. For me, the concept of reading isn't simply looking at words on a page or screen. For me, reading simply means consuming words, whether written or spoken, comprehending their meaning, and retaining my understanding of them for some period of time. As I mentioned, I graduated my alma mater with the highest distinction, summa cum laude, and in the top 3% of my school. One of my biggest secrets for getting straight A's was that I studied mostly using audiobooks instead of traditional paper or digital copies. Because I was studying English literature, a great deal of my course materials were in the public domain, meaning that they were so old that the text was free and not subject to copyright. Each summer when I selected my courses for the fall, I'd choose subjects that I knew would cover royalty-free content, such as the works of William Shakespeare. I'd also contact my professors for copies of the syllabuses so that I knew what works we'd be studying. I'd then use websites like Project Gutenberg and LibriVox to obtain free text and audio versions of the materials. Whenever I'd go for a walk or go to the gym, I'd listen to the materials in my headphones. The great thing about this approach is that I was multitasking. I was learning my text while keeping my mind and body healthy at the same time. For any given text, I'd usually listen to it once on regular speed and then again on double speed to help solidify my understanding and commit things to memory. If I knew that a certain text would be particularly important for the course, I'd listen to it over and over again, such as Hamlet or A Midsummer Night's Dream. By the time each semester had started, I had already listened to every reading for all of my courses, sometimes more than once. When it came time to answer questions in class, I could often provide direct quotes from the text. This also came in very handy when writing closed book exams. I remember that many of the professors who graded my exams would write things in the margins like, "Wow, this is a direct quote, good job." By knowing the text so well and showing it on my exams, I convinced my professors that I knew the materials inside and out and that I deserved an A. This also came in handy for difficult exams that would provide a quote from a character and then ask, "Who said this?" For example, which character said, "Good my lord, what is your cause of distemper? You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty, if you deny your griefs to your friend." The answer is Rosencrantz in Hamlet, but I likely wouldn't have known that if I hadn't listened to the text over and over again and committed so much of it to memory. And on that note, please keep in mind that as soon as I finished writing the final exam in my Shakespeare course, I quickly moved on to the next course and cleared some of the information in my head. I've read a lot in my life, but I certainly haven't retained it all. Another thing that I should mention is that the power of using audiobooks is that you can control the playback speed. For example, I recently made a review video on the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and please check out that video if you're interested. And although I did actually read the paperback version of the text, I also listened to it on Audible. The Audible app shows that at one time speed, it takes 5 hours and 35 minutes to read Atomic Habits. However, if I listen to the book at 1.5 speed, it only takes 3 hours and 43 minutes. This is a time savings of 1 hour and 52 minutes. Over a lifetime of reading, this is a great way to read faster. I should point out that during undergrad, I used a desktop scanner and text-to-speech software to make digital versions of any paper texts that I couldn't find online. For example, if a professor provided a lengthy handout on paper, I'd scan it using my Fujitsu scanner. If you're interested in a great one, please see my review on the Fujitsu ScanSnap IX1600 after you watch this video. I'd then run OCR on the documents, which means optical character recognition using Adobe Acrobat, and then copy and paste the text into software like TextAloud to produce audio files that I could listen to on my MP3 player at the time. Nowadays, I listen to texts on my smartphone. Finally, I should mention that this method works well for me because I have a fairly good memory for things that I hear, as opposed to things that I see. Also, it only works for certain kinds of materials. For example, if you want to read something that is very dense and difficult to understand, I wouldn't recommend using an audio version. Also, if you were reading a math or science textbook like this, obviously it wouldn't make sense to listen to an audiobook version. Audiobooks are best suited to texts containing fairly straightforward language that is set out in a standard format of chapters, made up of paragraphs, made up of sentences. Fortunately, this describes the kinds of texts that most people wish to be able to read faster. So there you have it, my 6th tip on how to read faster. If you learned something new from this video, then make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. just click the subscribe button below this video. And now I'd like to turn it over to you. Is the tip in this video something that you've tried before? And if not, do you think that it may work for you and is something that you may try? Let me know by leaving a comment right now.